Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Ayman and the other member is Atharv. So today our presentation topic is the role of blockchain in enhancing supply chain transparency. In slide 1, introduction, this study investigates blockchain's role in transforming supply chain management by enhancing transparency and accountability. Francisco present a strong conceptual foundation emphasizing how blockchains, decentralized and immutable nature can improve trust and information flow among stakeholders. However, the paper lacks implementation detail and real-world case studies, making it more of a theoretical framework than a practical guide. In next slide, next slide is main idea of the paper. Blockchain fosters trust among supply chain actors by providing unalterable, shared, and secure digital records. These decentralized tamper-proof leaders ensure transparency across the entire supply chain, allowing all stakeholders to assess the some reliable information. This transparency not only reduce the risk of fraud and errors, but also enhance overall supply chain performance. As a result, improved trust among partners and greater consumer confidence in product authenticity and sourcing can be achieved. In next slide, research motivation. This study addresses critical problems in supply chain such as opacity, fraud, and inefficiencies which hinder trust and accountability. It also responds to the rising demand for ethical sourcing and sustainable practices. The core research question is, can blockchain improve transparency, traceability, and trust? The authors argue that yes, it can by using decentralized, tamper-proof leaders to create shared, secure records that all stakeholders can trust. This makes the research especially relevant and timely as digital supply chains continue to evolve in complexity and societal expectations grow. Next slide, research question. One of the strengths of this study is that it tackles an urgent and highly relevant issue, improving transparency and trust in supply chains through blockchain technology. However, a key weakness is that the research question is not especially started. While the topic is clear, having a more clearly defined question would have improved the paper's focus and guided the discussion more efficiently. Next slide, summary key points. This study focuses on supply chain stakeholders, from suppliers to consumers, who are affected by issues like fraud and lack of transparency. It explores blockchain technology as a decentralized leader that can be applied across multi-tier global supply chains. The research is especially relevant amid growing demand for ethical sourcing and responsible business practices. The goal is to reduce fraud and opacity by using blockchain's immutable, time-stamped records which are accessible only to authorized actors, ensuring traceability and trust throughout the supply chain. In next slide, conceptual framework. The study uses a literature review along with industry examples to support its arguments. Notable examples include Walmart's food traceability pilot, which demonstrates blockchain's ability to track produce from to shelf, and the IBM Maker's blockchain initiatives in global shipping, which streamlines documentation and improves logistics. These cases illustrate how blockchain can strengthen regulatory compliance, reduce operational costs, and increase visibility across complex supply chains. And the next slides will discuss by Athara.
Thank you. Uh, we'll start discussing about the strengths of the paper. Like the paper has clear strengths and the weaknesses. The first strength we'll be discussing about is clear explanation of the blockchain features, as the paper clearly specifies about immutability and smart contracts in the paper. So it has given some very important features of the blockchain and clearly explained how these blockchain features can help in the increasing of transparency in the supply chain. The second one we'll discuss about is a strong link between theory and practice. So the theory, basically, the paper provides a theory of the blockchain blockchain management for the better transparency in the supply chain. And then third one we'll discuss about is relevant, engaging industry examples. So in the paper there are very lengthy and relevant, engaging industry examples given about the companies who have tried the blockchain and implemented the blockchain for the better supply chain transparencies. Then accessible to the non-technical readers, as the document is from the open source, it's also accessible for the non-technical readers, as the language and the phrases used in the paper are much more easier to understand. And the last one is indisciplinary perspective, which allows the readers and the paper readers and the consumer of the paper to read the paper without any perspective. Uh, then we'll discuss about the weaknesses of the paper. Weaknesses include lacking the primary research, which is not a research about the interviews, surveys, or the case study. So the first hand data is not available in the paper. The paper is solely based on the secondary research done by the authors. Then we have lack of critical discussion of the risk, energy use, privacy, and scalability, as the blockchain has some varied advantages like having transparency in supply chain and a smooth running and a decentralization, but is also a lack in some of the problems like a lot of energy use in the use of blockchain and the scalability and the privacy, and also it's expensive to incorporate in a business. And the last one we'll discuss about is portrays an overly optimistic view of the blockchain, as the blockchain is viewed as one of the most successful tool to be used for the by the companies for supply chain transparency, but is also overly optimized by the companies as the leader. And next we'll discuss about the missing critical risks, as the high energy consumption, as we already discussed in the previous slide about the weaknesses of the paper. uh, the blockchain management has a very high energy consumption for on the business perspective, which could be very expensive in the near future. Next concern is about data privacy, as the blockchain works on the internet, on the basis of IoT, which is Internet of Things. So the data privacy concerns are always there, as there can be a risk of data theft and the privacy violation about the intellectual property of the company. And third is scalability limitations, as blockchain have is very expensive for the companies who are based on a medium scale or the small scale. So there can be a scalability limitations for the company, and unbalanced portrayal without enough critics. So blockchain has not been much read or much used by the big companies. So there are not much critics available for the blockchain management system. Then how authors found the answer. The literature review and conceptual synthesis. The author found the answer with the literature review and the conceptual synthesis in the paper, and they analyzed the academic papers, reports, news articles. As we already discussed, the paper is already all based on the secondary research done from the papers, reports, and the news articles. And narrative description with the industry example. The industry examples are narratively described in the paper, the industries example are not been given about exactly about the companies. They have used the narrative or the active voice for the passive voice for the company descriptions. And it also lacks some of the formal methodology, like lacks transparency and replicability. Next, we'll be moving on to the validation of findings. Triangulation of secondary sources. So basically, the examples given in the paper are from Maersk and the Walmarts. So these are the examples for the research paper, which are given by the authors. So these are the secondary sources, like companies' balance sheets and companies' methodology and the operation business, how the operations run in the company and how they use the blockchain to enhance their supply chain transparency. So these all were the secondary sources used for the findings in the paper. And non-formal validation will be no stakeholder interviews, no members check or outcomes measured. As the paper is solely based on the secondary research, so the first-hand data is not available on the paper. So there are no formal validation from the stakeholders, as there are no interviews or the member checks given from the stakeholders. Missing evaluation and initiative success. Next, we'll be giving some of the recommendations for the improvement in the paper. Add empirical case studies and interviews. So, primary research is one of the most important part of a research paper, where the interviews are conducted with the people who have had the personal experience of the technology, and maybe some of the case studies which have been done before, and include quantitative data and blockchain impact. So quantitative data basically means the data which has been gained from multiple sources, and on the blockchain impact. Then expand discussion of the governance and privacy and scalability. Also, the authors can include some of the expanded discussions of the governance and the privacy, which are being done on the research. Next, we can adopt some of the mixed methods approach for the richer insights. Mixed method approach would be mixing some of the secondary research with the primary research to find more and insightful answers for the paper. So basically we have done the conclusion as per the valuable conceptual contribution, as it gives very valuable insights on the about the companies, how they can use the blockchain to reduce their to enhance their supply chain transparency, and raises awareness about the traceability, transparency, trust of the blockchain. And it lacks a little bit of practical evidence and formal validation and critics of risk because of lack of primary research, and needs more empirical research beyond the hype to guide the adoption. These are all the references we have taken our paper and some of the informations from. Thank you.